Men never really scratch their balls. It's more like a pinch and twist technique. And nobody ever taught us this. We all just figured it out on our own. And nobody ever talks about it. Balls to make you think, what the f***? There's nothing better than realising after waking up that you won't have to face the repercussions for the bad choices you made in your dream. Traditions are basically dead people peer pressuring us. There are two types of car owners. Those that get upset when it rains because it's made their car dirty. The second, who get happy when it rains because it's cleaning their car. If everyone died simultaneously, the internet would comprise entirely of bots posting, liking and upvoting each other. We thought our parents were embarrassing. But when the TikTok generation has kids, those kids will face forms of embarrassment unknown to us. As a child, it seemed like parents had eyes in the back of their heads. But as an adult, it's clear that little kids are just very predictable. Expensive paintings are basically just trading cards for the rich. Maybe superheroes wear capes to hide the zipper on the back of their onesie. In the future, when the earth gets hot enough, one way or another, sand in the desert might turn into glass, which might make for one of the coolest environments ever. They don't let you smile in your passport photos, because they want you to look like you will be looking like at an airport when you've been standing in line for hours. The man who invented the internet is 80 years old now. And if you was to see him walking down the street, you would just assume he was another old dude who doesn't know how to use the internet. Airport passengers would probably rather pay for priority offboarding rather than priority onboarding. If Google continues to keep Google Maps updated, then in hundreds of years, people will physically be able to walk around on Google Maps and explore history. If centaurs were real, the bottom half would just start walking around straight after being born, and the top half just being all floppy for the first 6 months. You know you're drunk when you start drawing patterns with your pee. One of the most futuristic things about the Star Wars universe is probably that planets always seem to be one unity, and not hundreds of different countries. Due to it almost only being populated by researchers, Antarctica is technically the continent with the highest IQ. We feel safe in our homes despite being surrounded by 240-volt wires, endless water resting at 80 to 120 psi, and explosive methane gas, all which were installed by an unknown person who may or may not have ignored safety regulations. And we're all fine with that. Somebody decided that blue ink pens were just as acceptable as black ink pens, and we just all went along with it. People will swim in the ocean, even though there are many dead bodies in it. But people would never swim in a swimming pool with a dead body in it. Therefore, humans have a corpse-to-water ratio, which is acceptable for them to swim in. I don't have a beer gut. I have a protective covering for my rock-hard abs. And finally, if your grandparents or parents keep telling the same story over and over again, it might not be because they're losing their memory. It might just be because they like remembering them. Ha ha ha! Key Hunter! And there you have it. Make sure to hit that follow button so you can come back for another episode of Thoughts to Make You Think. What the f***?